cost reflective, which in the long run is going to help this sector.
But the government keeps talking about it, but each time that raises its head, you have the folks at the National Assembly.
Well, I think it's also good to consider that the federal government is also one of the people that owes these power assets some money. I mean, they need to pay what they owe.
Pay their bills.
Yeah, they need to pay their bills and also ensure that going forward that their bills are paid on time. I think the Power Sector Recovery Plan also conceptualizes a centralized MDA payment system. So I think it's a good plan, and going forward, if implemented, because Nigeria, we are very long on very long on planning, and we are very short on planning and long on implementation.
Yes, but again, you come back to this. We have a cash flow problem. When you have a cash flow problem, it means you got no money, technically speaking. And you really unpack this for us. Whatever the discos are getting in, they're paying back the investors, in particular the banks, where they borrowed in dollars to buy these assets 3 years ago. Foreign exchange, oil prices had made nonsense of those deals way back. So the banks want their money. So whatever they are getting, they just pay back to that. So you and I want meters. We can't get it. We run to the government and say, help us here, big brother. And government says, well, sorry, we can't raise tariffs because the National Assembly don't want a crisis on its hand, because everybody's going to go on the street if you raise electricity tariffs. So that puts us in a bit of a cul-de-sac. So do you think, what do you think more we should do? We should do more of debt, or if they're coming to the market, if they agree to take this option. I haven't seen that in the recovery plan. And I was wondering why they didn't put it there, to use both the equities and the debt market as an option to reflate this particular sector.
Well, I think the power assets already have debts on their books. What they should be looking at is equity raising, especially in terms of the disco. I mean, we need transparency in that sector. We actually want to see how much they are remitting and how much is going towards servicing this debt and how much is being paid towards end debt. So we need a lot of transparency and accountability in terms of the part of the disco.
How soon do you think if we should get around and solve this problem? We are heading to November 2017, and then we'll say, well, the transition, the market is about 4 years old. How much progress have we made?
Well, that's something to be determined by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. I think they have like a 5-year period before this power asset can actually list on the stock exchange. But we are looking at 2017. I think there are reports out there that there are plans for these discos to actually list on the stock exchange. So 2017, 2018, we should be able to see more of that. 2017,
2018.
Yeah.
As far as an analyst, you think we should just get something ready between now and 2018 if Nigerians will be patient enough to wait until that time?
I mean, our ERGP looks at achieving 10,000 megawatts by the year 2019. In order to do that, we need to move from our current state.
Hold on a second. If the ERGP is looking at 20, hold on a second. We should be doing this like yesterday.
Yes.
Because if you're going to ask 11 discos, if all of them are going to hit the market at the same time, or even in phases, you need to start like yesterday.
Yes, they need to have started by yesterday.
By yesterday. Okay. Thank you so much. Obianiju Unsafo, one of the investment analysts at Afrinvest. Thanks for coming through this morning, putting some electricity into the conversation. Have a great day.
Yes, sir.
And a great business week and markets ahead of you. Let's get back to the big story. This morning, Bloomberg reports that Libya and Nigeria have been invited to the meeting in St. Petersburg in Russia, June the 24th, I beg your pardon, to discuss the May 29 May extension for Nigeria and Libya to be out of the cutback among oil-producing states. Of course, that unusual relationship between OPEC and non-OPEC started last year. Now, the meeting in Russia is very, very crucial. The main meeting for OPEC will be at the end of November. Quite a lot of meetings on the calendar. But Nigeria may be asked to cap its oil output if it can defend its current production levels. That's what the Kuwaiti oil minister, Issam Al-Mazouk, said in Istanbul at an oil and gas conference over the weekend. We'll be back after the break. Of course, infrastructure is still the discussion here. Let's listen to see, with all the waters and the streets of Lagos flooding, where did all the money go? As far as infrastructure bond is concerned, let's see where we're coming from and perhaps find a way to where we're going. Now we're going to wrap up the program on the market side of things, but first let's go to the infrastructure. Of course, we're looking at Lagos, Nigeria's economic epicenter, but of course, the city called aquatic splendor and the center of excellence. You've seen all the footage over the weekend. Of course, we were warned months ago by the Met office that is going to be a very heavy downpour this year because of climate change. Now, things have changed. So you've seen the images yourself. You've been inside the water, all of us, with beds and mattresses and pillowcases and suitcases floated with cooking utensils. So Lagos has been raising bonds for the last couple of years, hundreds of billions of them. As a matter of fact, in Naira, Lagos has about 270 billion Naira in bonds that have been raised since the Bola Tinubu's administration to fix some of the problems in Lagos. But this guy via the debt management office that's been talked about. So let's hear from Ayo Gbilei, who had a few things to say about how Lagos has spent some of the money that has been raised when Ibrahim Nwankwo was the Director General or the Debt Management Office. Let's take a listen to Ayo Gbilei, who was a former Commissioner of Finance for Lagos State.
I came in close contact with the DMO office in 2013. I've been in Lagos State government. I started out in Lagos State government in 2008, but I was in charge of a public-private partnership, so it didn't have so much to do with the DMO. So in 2013, I became Commissioner for Finance. So, of course, we had a program, a 275 billion debt issuance program, the Lagos State bond, that were issued in 4 tranches, and I had the unique opportunity of raising the last tranche, 87.5 billion naira, arguably the largest sub-national bond in sub-Saharan Africa today. Not only that, there was the $600 million development policy operation support in 3 tranches of $200 million each from the World Bank. And as for those who are familiar, as a sub-national, you are not likely to be able to raise external borrowing or even raise such large chunk of bonds without passing through the debt management office, whether it is the new DG Patoniha, a very good friend of ours, whether it is Dele Afolabi. We all know ourselves, and these guys were quite instrumental and helpful. So as you sit here today and you are riding beautifully on Lekki Ikoyi Link Bridge, the gentleman here played a significant role because these were some of the sources of financing such, huge infrastructure in the state. Lagos then practically became a huge construction site. The light metro rail transit that is running from Okokomaiko via National Theatre into Marina, all of those are not happening without his support. Things like the 10 mother and child care centers built in Lagos.
So that's going to be, that's Ayo Gbilei, who was a former Commissioner of Finance for Lagos State at the event last Friday for Ibrahim Nwankwo, the retired Director General of the DMO. Now there's going to be more infrastructure bonds to be listed. We're talking about that today. FMDQ OTC Securities Exchange will next week Monday admit the first ever infrastructure bond promoted by Chapel Hill Denham Series 1, about 200 billion in total. But the first tranche of that, about 87 billion naira, has been successfully allotted and approved by the SEC. The notice of that came out last week. So you need to keep an eye on where this money will go. Part of the news you're going to have here on Business Morning on Channels Television next week Monday. Of course, keep a date with us on that. Do have a great day, everyone, and a beautiful, profitable business and market week. I'll see you again tomorrow, Tuesday, June the 11th. Have a great day. Bye for now.